Hi, welcome back. As we all know, the HSR devs dropped a bomb on all of us yesterday when they finally listened for once. And I can't lie, it ruined so many video plans for me and for other CCs as well. I was ready to on HSR daily for the entire month of February, but hey, now I gotta do the opposite, I guess. One of the main points they discussed in the new developer radio was buffing up old units, and I want to talk about that further. I was already gonna make a video about how I would redesign kits for several different characters, but the script I wrote was pretty aggressive. So I felt it didn't really fit the situation anymore since HSR were now the good guys again, at least until they fuck up one more time. So I'm rewriting the script, but a lot more gently. I gentle parented them once, it'll work again. In this video, some kits will see some massive overhauls like Jingliu, who was actually redesigned by my friend Axe, who is making a cameo in this video, and other kits will see some smaller changes. So in this video, I present to you how I would redesign Star Rail characters kits so that they don't have to. Before we start, you should like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this in the future, because barely any of you are actually subscribed. You should also join the Expressway Discord server for a fun and lovely community to hang out with. I'll be expecting you there, so head to the link below. Now let's get on to it. First things first, I want to start with a kit that wouldn't be so massively overhauled, Silverwolves. We're going to get to the big overhauls later, but I think if Silverwolf simply had an AoE or multi-target kit instead of single target, she would be so much better and would probably compete with Jiaoqiu, if not be even better than him in teams other than Acheron. I don't think her multipliers really need a buff, but maybe having more than just 5% more defense shred than a 4-star unit would be nice. So instead of her ult only having 45% defense shred, it went up to 55%, so with the Sweaty Lycone it's up to 71%. I wouldn't really do anything else for Silverwolf. If she was AoE, she'd be pretty perfect. She'd see a lot more use everywhere and she'd actually be better than Pella. Now Blade definitely has one of the worst kits in the game. He has split scaling between attack and HP, he needs to get hit 5 times to proc his FUA that doesn't even do that much damage, even with Robin. And on top of all of that, his multipliers are so tiny that without multiple Eidolons and signature Lycones on supports like Robin, Sunday, and Ruan Mei, his ultimate can't even hit 300k on a single target enemy. Absolutely diabolical. So first things I will do to fix this guy's kit, other than just increase his damage multipliers, is to remove the split scaling with attack and make him only scale with HP, so you know what to focus on. Now this will leave him unbuffable with characters that only buff up attack percent, but those are pretty rare anyway since most supports actually buff up straight damage. His first trace increases incoming healing by 20% when he's below 50% HP, but actually I would prefer that to do something else. I think it would be better to have him deal more damage the lower health he has, especially because he usually has a lot of max HP. So 20% extra damage when he's under 50% HP. His second trace regenerates HP when he hits a weakness broken enemy, but I think to make him proc his FUA more, it would be better for it to give him an extra charge for his FUA whenever he hits a weakness broken enemy or breaks an enemy. He may not be break focused, but since breaking the enemy is one of the fundamental aspects of this game, some character kits should 100% take advantage of it. The last trace increases FUA damage by 20%, which is very simple. I think to make Blade competitive though, it would have to help him either gain more charges or reduce the amount of charges he needs. So, having his last trace decrease the amount of required charges to 4, as well as give him an extra stack whenever he does his basic attack or reduces his own HP using his ultimate, would make him a lot more powerful. And we can make his E6 reduce it to 3 instead of 4. I've been advocating for a DoT buff for a very long time now, and I think that Kafka definitely needs a buff herself, not just a new character. I'm going to leave her basic, skill, and ultimate the same, but I think that all of her shock multipliers need to be increased, and that her DoT detonation multipliers also need to be increased. So from 75% on her skill up to 100%, and from 100% on her ult to 150%. Her first trace just makes her ultimate act like her skill. I bet most Kafka mains thought that her first trace was actually a part of her ultimate already. So to fix her up, we're just going to make her first trace a part of her ultimate originally, so it doesn't take up a useless slot, and we're going to tinker with it a little bit. I think it would be pretty balanced if every time she hits an enemy with her follow-up attack, they either have their defense reduced or they take extra DoT damage. Since her E1 already makes the enemies take extra DoT damage, I think having their defense reduced by like 15% would be pretty balanced. Her second trace is actually pretty good, regenerating energy when enemies with shock are defeated, but I think it would be a whole lot better if it did that, as well as spread DoT effects from defeated targets onto adjacent targets, maybe at a 50% conversion ratio, because if it was 100% it would be very broken in AoE scenarios. Her third trace increases the base chance to apply her shock statuses, so I think I'll keep it like that, it's pretty damn good. As for other DoT characters, I don't really think Black Swan needs any buffs at all. She's already incredibly powerful for a DoT character. Her only weakness honestly is Kafka herself being an old unit that's rough around the edges. If anything, I would just make her Epiphany state apply 2 stacks at a time instead of just 1 stack. And as for the 4-star DoT units, well, I don't really care about them, I'm gonna be real. So as I said before, Axe is making a cameo here, and he is actually the one who redesigned the whole of Jingliu's kit. So let's cut to Axe's part and see what he has to say about our dead ice lady.
Hi, welcome back. Axe here. So my buddy Moose asked me to help redesign Jingliu's kit, and as a bit of a Jingliu connoisseur myself, I thought it'd be fun. First off, her multipliers are pretty not good at a baseline, so we'd want to buff those up a bit to be more in line with today's standards. Another thing is her uptime on both her buffs from supports and from her spectral state are pretty bad. While the buff uptime has mostly been fixed with the release of Sunday, you're going to notice he actually comes up a lot here, she still does all damage for 2 turns. We can get around that by letting her immediately take action when she exits her spectral state, similar to Robin. She also has the issue of easily overcapping on crit rate due to giving herself 50%, and now getting 20% more with Sunday. We can get around that by adding a trace that converts excess crit rate into crit damage, similar to Sunday's E6. And she also does have a part of her kit that is very underutilized, the HP drain. The HP drain does buff her attack, but it feels like untapped potential. What we can do is add it to her damage multipliers rather than attack, and make it more significant, maybe 10% drain rather than the 4%. That way, she could have more potential in the future with maybe a new support. We have characters like Maide and possibly Casterus with different HP mechanics, so Jingliu could also benefit from this. These are just some ideas, but I think it can make her a lot better. I will make a video in the future how Jingliu can be fixed, probably during her next rerun, so if you want to check out my channel, that would be great. Thank you Moose for having me, back to him.
Okay, thanks for stealing my intro, I guess. Jokes aside, that's a pretty damn good redesign. I definitely used it as a baseline, or standard for the other units. Now, Sparkle definitely needs an upgrade. Badly. She got insanely power cut by Sunday to the point where E6 S1 Sparkle is worse than E0 S1 Sunday. I think we should start off by simply making her 50% action advance a full 100% so that she's not gutted by it over and over again. I think they just did that at the time to not make her power creep Bronya so heavily, but then they just did it anyway with Sunday. So making it 100% would be pretty fair to put her at least on par with the other action advance units. Now her talents and ultimate are pretty good, maybe I would increase the Cypher effect for 1 more turn so that it has better uptime, but her E1 already does that, so they definitely wouldn't do that. But maybe increase the overall damage boost you get from the Cypher effect to 60% instead of just 44.5%. But if her talents and ults aren't changed at all, I think she'd still be pretty fine. For her first trace, it regenerates energy when she uses her basic attack. If you play your cards right, you'll never have to use it, so I think this trace is completely useless. Instead, I think we should change it to regenerating energy when allies use skill points instead. Her second trace is incredibly powerful actually, so I'll keep it exactly how it is. Extending her skill for 1 turn is very valuable, especially for characters that advance themselves forward like Jingliu, or teams with 2 supports like a Jingliu team with both Sparkle and Sunday, or 4 very fast units like Zila or maybe even Aglaia. Her third trace is incredibly useless in my opinion, especially since Mono Quantum is very dead right now. Though it can definitely be used to revive Mono Quantum as a whole. Instead of increasing attack based on how many Quantum members are in the party, I think it would be very cool if it granted 20% Quantum resistance penetration if the party has 3 or more Quantum characters. Or if they really wanted to make it Mono Quantum, then make the requirement 4 Quantum characters. It would be an insane damage boost for Mono Quantum and would make the playstyle so much better and give it a place in the meta again. And that's it! Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought of the redesigns Axe and I made. Let me know what other characters you would redesign and how. Other than that, like and subscribe for more content like this in the future and join the Express Discord server for a lovely community to hang out with. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time.